Welcome to Grow on the Go, your on the go spot for learning and development at UC Berkeley. Today's episode:
planning for getting the right support from your manager when they ask you how can they best support your success.
Grow on the Go is produced by People and Organization Development in Berkeley People and Culture.
So, you're having an Achieve Together check-in conversation and your manager asks you, what can I do as your manager to better support your success? What additional knowledge, resources, or tools are needed to successfully do your job? At work, you want to be heard, understood, validated, and supported in the ways that work for you, right? But when the time comes for your supervisor or manager to ask, what can I do to better support you at work? Your internal reaction might be something like this. 1,000 feelings and ideas go off like a starburst in your mind, not sure where to start or where to hope for things to land. You might blurt out, "Oh, just keep doing what you're doing." To which your manager might think, "Well, what specifically do I keep doing?" Maybe this is your reaction. Or maybe as you leave the conversation and head home from work, you suddenly remember all those things you wish you had said. Or you might think, can I really ask for that updated job description? To explore whether a reclassification might be appropriate since the scope of your work has expanded or become more complex. To attend that conference this summer, and the list goes on and on. And then also, how can I frame it in the best way possible? And first, it's important to remind yourself that conversations can be revisited. You can also create a plan or even a sequence of conversations that can help make the case for your needs in the workplace. There are a few key strategies to consider when addressing conversations about support that you need to be successful. What's important is that you plan, prepare, and focus on what's important to you, your manager, and UC Berkeley. With this in mind, the Achieve Together performance program for non-represented employees includes a check-in question that focuses solely on your success and what your manager can do to best support your success. So when that question comes up, what can I do as your supervisor to better support your success? What additional knowledge, resources, or tools are needed to successfully do your job? You need to be ready to answer. A few things can come up here that are more tactical and focused within the nature of the performance conversation, such as professional development planning, clarity on goal expectations for the next 4 months and beyond, in addition to thinking more broadly about the 5 achievement criteria. The other side of the coin is really about what support approach is needed for you to be successful. Thinking about the knowledge, resources, and tools that you need to be successful in your job. You might also think about providing your supervisor, your manager, with some insights on things they could stop, start, or continue doing to better support your success. Even if it is just keep doing what you're doing, be explicit about what you hope they keep doing to support your success. Also, this ties back to your supervisor's success, right? In the achievement criteria, managers are responsible for enabling and empowering the success of each employee, which includes listening, understanding, and adjusting their style to meet your needs as best they can. In order to have an effective conversation and make a powerful request in response to the question, what can I do as your supervisor to better support your success? What additional knowledge, resources, or tools are needed to successfully do your job? It's important to be strategic and thoughtful about introducing requests, new needs, and timing. In this Grow on the Go video, we're going to introduce you to these 4 themes to help you prepare for this important conversation. First up, making sure you are being recognized and supported in ways that are meaningful to you. Second, addressing your portfolio. Third, supporting professional development. And fourth, navigating growth and future. Throughout this video, you'll have a chance to learn more about these 4 themes, get access to great resources, learn about tools that will help you make your priority list, start writing a plan, and get some feedback on your plan from a trusted advisor. And then you're ready to go forward and continue self-advocating and seeking champions of your career growth. Check out the companion guide linked in the video description on YouTube and in the Grow on the Go library. So one of the things you want to stay away from is dumping all your eggs in one basket, meaning waiting to be prompted to work on making things better, or planning only to discuss issues that are important to you in formalized settings. As you engage in conversations with your supervisor and prepare for responding to question number 6 in the check-in, introduce your needs, priorities, and requests for support maybe over time, expressing clearly the topic, your hopes, some research you've done, some options you've identified, what you'd hope from your supervisor, and to also be open to adjusting expectations within reason. The goal is not to take your foot off the gas. Keep focus on advocacy over time so that when it is time for your check-in conversation with your supervisor and they ask you about what they can do to better support your success, the topics are not completely new, surprising, or derailing. Instead, with prep work and focusing on trust building, your conversation can be more about celebrating successes, further opportunities for growth and enhancement, and about planning for the future. Okay, we are going to focus in on the 4 key conversation themes, making sure you're being recognized and supported in all the ways that are meaningful for you, addressing your portfolio, supporting professional development, navigating growth in the future. Question 6 is a great chance to make known or even revisit the way in which you are supported and recognized. Think about this statement for a moment. Fair recognition is a prerequisite to employee development. Fair recognition is a prerequisite to employee development. In a study conducted by Gallup, employees who strongly agree that they receive fair pay and equitable recognition at work are 6 times as likely to strongly agree that their employer is committed to building everyone's strengths. They are also 7 times as likely to strongly agree that they have adequate opportunities for advancement, and nearly 8 times as likely to strongly agree that they have a clear plan for development. Recognition and appreciation from those around you, your leaders, managers, and peer colleagues, guide an understanding of your performance impacts and can fuel your development. Having a greater understanding of how the work you do impacts the university helps you to better understand how to do more of that great work. As you are nearing the end of your check-in, reflecting upon question 6, you might ask your supervisor to talk about what they see as your major accomplishments, what they notice in your ongoing learning and growth, and to highlight the skills you are bringing to the table that are taking the team to the next level. It's also a great chance to talk about your preferences for ongoing appreciation and recognition. You might express what recognition and support has really been meaningful to you and what you'd be hopeful for moving forward. It may feel awkward or even needy to express how you like to be recognized. However, keep in mind that sharing with your supervisor examples of how you like to be recognized when they ask how can they best support you gives them the specific feedback that helps them to understand what motivates you, builds your confidence, and deepens a strong relationship between the two of you. As you prepare to share with them, think about what you would want them to stop, start, and continue in how they recognize you. Here are some ways that you might frame this reply to question 6, with an example of each category in the order of continue, expand, or start, and stop. Not that you have to include them all in your conversation, but here it goes.
Thanks so much for asking. I really appreciate how you consistently provide me with specific feedback in our email exchanges about my projects. It feels really good to know that you're reading them and that you take time to respond, that you like my idea, or that something was a nicely worded response, or that if something isn't going well, that it's okay to try something new and learn from it. This feedback and recognition of my efforts by you boosts my confidence that I'm on track and allows me space to experiment and take on new challenges and know that it's okay to try new things and take risks and possibly fail and learn and grow. It's so helpful to read your appreciation of my actions immediately and with the few details that you share about what I did and how I did something. I really like that you do that, and I invite you to continue to do so. I also appreciate how you have incorporated time in our team meetings for us to recognize one another verbally and in the moment. I'd love it if that could expand to our one-on-one meetings from time to time too, so that I can hear from you about anything that I might be doing that you feel is stand out. That would be of additional support to me. While I appreciate the sentiments and effort, one thing that I don't necessarily need when it comes to being recognized or acknowledged is another plaque. With such limited space in our office and in my home, I end up putting those items in a box in my basement. I think a virtual badge depicting an award that I could add to my online signature or my LinkedIn profile would be a cool alternate option that helps me to feel recognized and appreciated in a way that I can celebrate. Again, thanks so much for asking.
Let's shift to talk about addressing your portfolio with your supervisor. Examples include exploring getting support on a work product, goal, project, routine tasks, innovations, inclusion and belonging, collaboration, or even reviewing your current job description. In the 2022 UC Berkeley State of the Workplace Survey, 16% disagree that the amount of work supervisors expect employees to complete is reasonable.
Another 28%.
About 1/4 of staff perceive their job description as inaccurate. With these stats in mind, it's always healthy to check in on expectations, and a review of your job description is a great starting point. To address your portfolio, you might introduce some ideas you hope to discuss before, during, or even propose to discuss after your check-in conversation. Those items might include rescoping of work due to scope creep, shifting priorities, reduced staff, new compliance policies, work overwhelm, etc. What's critical is that you get your concerns, frustrations, and ideas out into the open to work with your supervisor in partnership. You also want to utilize tools and resources so that you can do your own research and propose options for addressing your needs, like Job Builder. This tool is a great place to start. Here, you can access your current job description, review it for accuracy based on your current job responsibilities. You can use this information to discuss any needed updates. You can also review other job descriptions in your job family and use this information as a factual data source to assess if you are working beyond the scope of your current job level. Requests for support from your supervisor may include some of the following language. Of course, you can use this sample narrative as a starting point and customize it to fit your voice.
I love your support with the joint review and assessment of my job description. There are some areas which seem no longer current and some responsibilities I'm currently performing in which I'm not sure how these currently fit or if I may have expanded in the scope of my role. Could I schedule some time to review my job description with you?
Let's talk about the classification, reclassification, evaluation process. After you've reviewed your job description, you can review the classification reclass process to understand the steps, people, and timing involved, and again, request your supervisor's support to provide a candid assessment of what might be appropriate and possible regarding reclassification evaluation of your current position. You might say something like this.
Thanks so much for asking how you can support me. I've been giving this some thought, and one area in which I'd greatly appreciate your consideration and support is in assessing with me whether my role may be eligible for a reclass. In the last 2 years, the scope, level, and nature of my work have expanded in X, Y, and Z ways. And I'd appreciate your support if we could schedule some additional time where we might explore these shifts in my role and compare it to my current job description and other levels to see if changes in the position would warrant a reclass review. Would you be willing to support this?
Let's talk about equity increases. Similar to the previous scenarios, if you think that your salary is below that of your peers, the market rate, or salary compression, you might ask for your supervisor's support in assessing the data with you. And if ample data confirms this, advocating for an equity increase on your behalf. In addition to the information on the Equity Increases webpage, tools that can assist you to do some research on your own include the UC Employee Pay Database, to explore salaries of the same title, the title code system, to explore where your current salary falls within the pay range for your position. You might say something like this.
Thanks so much for asking how you can support me. I've been giving this some thought, and one area in which I'd greatly appreciate your consideration and support is in assessing with me whether my role may be eligible for equity increase. In reviewing the public salary data on the UC Employee Pay Database, I noticed that my salary is below that of 10% of the other salaries listed for my same title here at UC Berkeley. And that salary data is also 1 year old. My salary is also about $10,000 below the midpoint. I'd appreciate your support if we could schedule some additional time where we might explore and discuss this data so I may understand how my current salary is equitable, or discuss some next steps on how we might put in an equity increase request to bring it to an equitable level. Would you be willing to support me in this way?
Another useful tool which can help you prepare for all the above conversations and share where you spend your time is the Google Calendar Time Audit. You can see how you spend your work days with the Google Calendar Time Insights. Next up is professional development support and planning. In 2022, 11% of staff indicated that their supervisor wasn't supportive of opportunities for training. What's great is that a supermajority of staff have managers who are engaging in progressive and productive planning conversations about how to utilize that guaranteed 10 days or 80 hours for professional development annually. So whether you're in a situation and you need to jumpstart a conversation about professional development support or get re-engaged with ongoing conversations, you will learn about a few options in a moment. And then there's more in the handy dandy companion guide to get the breadth of what professional development time usage and goal planning could look like. You can address taking on a stretch assignment, learning new skills, diving deeper on developing one or more of the UC competency ABCs, exploring training opportunities, programs, and easy access tools and resources provided by People and Cultures, People and Organization Development, and DEIB teams, LinkedIn Learning and Gartner Just-in-Time Learning, trade association conferences, presenting about your organization or an advisory committee, getting access to the right development planning and coaching through 360s, executive coaching, or getting a credential or certificate through sponsored tuition at UC Extension, and the list goes on. The point is to use your time. You have to leverage building a productive partnership between you and your supervisor on this topic. They can be helpful to make introductions, to sponsor you on a project, for mentorship, and for cheerleading your developments in a way that focuses on the most impactful ways to help you grow. Some amazing tools and resources you have at your fingertips include the following, and check out your companion guide to access these links: career development workshops, coaching, exec coaching, the Grow website, LinkedIn Learning, My UC Career, the Now Conference, and sponsored tuition. When your supervisor asks you that wonderful question of opportunity, what can I do as your supervisor to better support your success, and what additional knowledge, resources, or tools are needed to successfully do your job, you may say something like this.
Thanks for asking. Since professional development is one of the Achieve Together performance development goals, I have been giving this a lot of thought. And I'd really like to develop my skills in project management. I would appreciate your support of my professional development in this area, as I feel it will boost my ability to more effectively lead projects and committees I am on, to more efficiently and competently supporting our programs. I'd really like to apply for the sponsored tuition project management certificate program. This would require me to attend 4 Friday classes from 2 to 4 p.m. in September and October. I can manage my work and revise some of my focus time to participate. And I would love your support in allowing me the 20 hours of professional development time to enroll and participate and complete this program. Would that be possible?
What's the best thing to do to address navigating growth in your future in the UC? Talk about it. Bring these conversations into the open with your manager. Be open about what you're learning and how you're applying that to your role, and tell the story about how that development fits into your longer range career aspirations and goals. Talk about compensation, growth, successful stretch assignments, new assignments you hope to take on in the future, career paths, contributions, job family trajectory, management trajectory, really the future of you, the future of work, the future of priorities for the organization. Consider these actions and questions in this space before moving in to planning conversations with your boss. Review the achievement criteria full set. Review the standout category and tell your manager which behaviors you are demonstrating. Have you taken on work that is more complex than your job description scopes? For how long? At what level of performance? For those who are operating within their scope of role with a consistent high level of performance at that standout level, it's a great opportunity to have a broader conversation with your supervisor about your short-term and long-term goals to advance your salary, to build toward upward classification as an individual contributor or on to elevated leadership roles. For those who are performing at a high level for a sustained amount of time doing more complex work than outlined in your job description, it may be a great time to have a few conversations to explore opportunities for proposing a job description update, an equity increase, or a job reclassification. See some of those sample scripts that we've had today to customize a similar request. These are not one and done conversations or planning discussions. In your companion guide, there are resources for you to review. In the meantime, you might start with opening up and comparing your job description, the description of the numeric level below and above you, and ask, am I within the scope of my job description range? Am I above? In what ways have I contributed at that higher level? How will I tell that story? If it's more of a forward planning opportunity you see with your supervisor, you might propose that the two of you open a conversation about a multi-year planning towards the next job code level, or to work on a growth plan to be a marketable candidate for elevated leadership roles when they become available. This work takes focused planning toward identifying and going after the project's work and of the incredibly high importance demonstration of the skills you are building and have built that will make a strong case for elevation and growth in the future. As a response to your supervisor asking how they can best support you, you may say something like this.
Thanks for asking. I continue to give a lot of thought to how I can continue to excel in my role and grow in my career here at UC Berkeley. I would love your thought partnership in these two specific areas. Specifically, one of my goals is to I would appreciate your support if we could meet and review my current job level, as well as the job level that I aspire to, and explore with you stretch assignments and skills development that I might be able to take on to prepare me for the next level opportunity on our team or within our department. Your support with my growth in this way would really, really mean a lot. Would this be something that we could focus on together in our biweekly check-ins over the next 6 months?
You might engage in the conversation with the Berkeley People Management Program, or BPM, BSA Mentorship Program, the Management Skills Assessment Program, or MSAP, staff fellowships, staff organizations, and the Transferable Skills Library.
So when your supervisor asks you, what can I do as your manager to better support your success? What additional knowledge, resources, or tools are needed to successfully do your job? We hope that these strategies and sample scripts have prepared you to make thoughtful and powerful requests that can support you in the 4 areas of making sure you're recognized and supported in ways that are meaningful to you, addressing your portfolio, supporting professional development, and navigating the future with growth in mind. All right, so what's next? UC Experience conversations are a great way to have deeper level conversations about your priorities as an employee, but separate from the formalized performance conversation. So check out the UC Experience Conversations page to learn more, prioritize your topics, and review the FAQs. Your manager might offer to engage in the conversation, or you might consider this conversation as an opportunity to request a UC Experience conversation. It might sound something like this after your supervisor asks, "What can I do to better support your success? What additional knowledge, resources, or tools are needed to successfully do your job?"
There are so many things that I love and appreciate about my role and being part of your team. And I'm interested in continuing to learn and grow here in my role. I recently learned about the UC Experience Conversations as a way to do a deeper dive to discuss some topics that could support my continued growth and engagement. I would love your support in reviewing how we could schedule one or more of these UC Experience conversations. Would that be possible?
Finally, check out the companion guide, which includes all of the links to the resources mentioned in today's Grow on the Go video, and to help you think through, how do you want to grow today?